attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everyone, and thank you for joining us for the 21st webisode of Tech Tip Tuesday. I'm here with Howard Young, Solutions Architect at Zadara Storage. Today we're going to be continuing a topic we started back in June in our 9th webisode, which was Zadara Snapshots. Howard is going to discuss Zadara Snapshots in greater detail and the capabilities you have within the Zadara Storage Cloud to protect your data in today's webisode entitled Zadara Snapshots Part 2. Remember, if you have any questions, please use the control panel on your right-hand side to send in your question. If it's relevant or urgent for what Howard is speaking on, I'll go ahead and ask Howard right away. Otherwise, I will relay the questions to Howard at the end of the session. Now let's begin. Howard, take it away.
Well, good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, depending what time zone you're in. Yesterday we had a nice Labor Day holiday here in the States, so we're sort of relaxed today, and we'll do a nice, easy topic today. And basically, we get this question all the time. So, how much space do snapshots take? So, basically, if you recall from episode 9, I believe it was, where we went into snapshots in comparison of AWS snapshots and our snapshots, the snapshots are inside the pool, and they don't take up any additional space except for the metadata. Now there is going to be, the pool keeps growing in size as you take more and more snapshots. That's just by default that take individual copy on write type of snapshots. But we get this question is, how much capacity is this taking? So there are two components. One is a map capacity, which is just the data itself within a volume, and then we have data copies capacity, and then the two are different, but they're sort of related. And the map capacity, of course, is the volume size, and the data copies is just the additional snapshots. So for example, if you have a 10 terabyte drive and or volume, and you wrote 5 terabytes data out, took a snapshot, then wrote another 2 terabytes, your data copy is going to be 2 terabytes, and your map capacity is going to be 5. What will happen is the pool will grow to 7 terabytes. They're using that, but your individual volume doesn't change. So what I'd like to do is show you a couple examples, and hopefully you can see this. This here. Let me increase the font. So, well, in the data protection area here, we have what we call snapshot policies, and you can control the policy on each particular volume or share. By default, what we have is hourly, daily, and weekly, and that gives you protection within that time frame. You can also, there's also a daily backup, but it's not enabled by default. But if you wanted to have a daily backup and keep that for a year, you could edit it, and then you could just say, let's make it a default for new volumes. And then there's also, we have another policy here where you can create empty snapshots. Now what an empty snapshot does is allows you to keep track of when there's it gives you basically a timestamp. Now it's not going to cause any more data be saved, but hence the name empty. So if you wanted to do that, and some customers like to have a timestamp to make sure that they're getting the protection just as a visual cue that snapshots are actually running. These are turned off by default, but you can turn it on at any time. And then just do an update, and then what will happen is the next time you create a volume or share, this will be enabled by default, and you get this type of number of snapshots in this time frame. You can also edit and delete it and create all those types of operations are available to you. We also have an on demand, which is very important, and allows you to take a snapshot on demand through a script. From the volume itself, you can see which are enabled or disabled. So it's based on this snapshot. You can see this little icon here. It looks like a camera. If it doesn't have any type of protection here, there's no snapshot. So if you look, for example, on, let's see, V1 here, and we look down at the properties, you can see that there's no data copy here. So there's no snapshots, of course. And of course, you can always come over here to this tab here to verify it. And so there's no data in the snapshot, and this is the map capacity. And another example of that is here's a 100 terabytes block volume, and it's only 3.2 gig is used, and then here's a few snapshots that are enabled. Now this is just going to be the metadata, and then everything else is going to be pretty static. And there's just only 2 snapshots. Now I found a really interesting one here earlier today. Let's see if I can find it again on V2. So here again, here's V2. Now this is a file system snapshot, and it has a lot of snapshots in here. That's been going on for quite a while, since about the beginning or middle of May. Now, if you look at the properties, here's the available capacity is 15 terabyte or gigabytes, sorry, and then the map capacity is 5 terabytes. So the available capacity and the map capacity will add up to the virtual capacity. But then, if you look at the data, you also have almost 10 terabytes of data, gigabytes. So I got the units right sooner or later. You have 9.5 gigabytes of data, and that's going to be allocated within the pool itself. So there's some operations you can do on snapshots itself, and for example, if you want to manage your snapshots, you can delete them. You can also clone them, but let's go ahead and delete the snapshot. Now, since this is going to be the first baseline of the snapshot, and all the snapshots are incremental, these 2 snapshots are going to be merged into a common set of data. And so what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and delete that. And it's the process of deleting. Now, the process of deleting, what happens is it's basically merging the blocks or the metadata into a single snapshot, which is now available based on the 481 snapshot here. So now, one thing we didn't cover in too much detail is that you can actually mount these snapshots at any point in time, and you could just clone it. And so if I want to call a V2 clone, I can give it a snapshot of 2040 as a tag for here. Now I can go ahead and create a clone of that, and it'll create a new volume. So here I have a new volume here. It's just a clone based on that snapshot. Now there's no snapshots, of course, on this at this point in time, and you can see how it's related. So now this has 2 gigabytes of data that are common between this particular volume and this particular volume up here. So they're all joined together, sharing a common block, so it's not taking up any additional space in the pool. Now, what happens is if your pool runs out of space, so there's plenty of space in this pool here, what will happen is if this capacity grows all the way up to 541 gigabytes, what the software will do, it will start migrating the older snapshots into single snapshots, and that'll free up space. So that's part of the protection level of what the process does. So you'll never run out of space in the pool unless you run out of the physical space within the volume. So some customers will want to retain those snapshots, and if that's case, what we could do is basically add another rate set and expand the pool using this particular button here, and that's just adding new rate groups into the pool. If you're not available, we always monitor the volumes and the pools itself, or if there's any case where you'll run out of space and impact your basically your production run. We'll go ahead and add drives for you to keep the production data up and running. But if you don't care about snapshots, they'll just start rolling off. But you can always coordinate that with our operations team on how you want that behavior or how that's handled from a ticket standpoint. So are there any questions, Summer?
Hi, Howard. Yeah, we have a couple questions coming in. If anyone else has any more questions, please send them through the question box in the module on your right. First question we have, Howard, is do snapshots work for all data types, block, file, and object, for example?
Yeah, so snapshots is a common infrastructure within the storage. So when we do a snapshot for a local volume, like I was just showing you, or if we do it for example, a mirroring. Let's see if I have a mirror here. These snapshots are all the same infrastructure, and they take up the same space on the pool. So it's common between mirrored volumes, the regular volumes, and also if you do any remote object store, there should be some. Let's see, I don't know if I have any up here, but if you have any buckets in here, they're all common between the same snapshots. So we didn't reinvent the wheel. We just did a snapshot, and it works for all of our products back up to S3, mirroring, and then local.
Thank you. Oh, another question we have, is there a difference between local, mirrored, or backup snapshots?
No, actually that's the same question, similar, but they're all identical. So you have a snapshot, and they're basically the same within the pool itself. You cannot, for example, there's one difference, like on a mirror, I don't believe you can clone it. Let's see, you can clone it, but you can't delete it. So that's about the only difference. You can clone this particular volume, but in the case of local volumes where there's a snapshot, like for this one, the difference is you can actually delete them. So if you want to delete a particular volume or a particular snapshot, you can delete them. But in mirror, you can't. That's about the only difference at that point. Are there any other questions?
Thank you for answering those questions. Looks like that's all the questions we have for now. Is there anything else you would need to add to your session?
No.
That'll be it.
Let me put up my contact information. So, so if you need to get any questions or have any questions for me, you can always contact me at Howard at Zadara Storage. I also have a Twitter account at Howard Y. I do tweet once in a while about storage technology and other things. So it's kind of interesting to follow tweets and things. If you want to get a hold of me professionally, there's my LinkedIn, Howard Y. And of course, if there's any questions regarding any tips or questions you want to ask regarding Zadara Storage or in storage in general, just use this bit.ly link at Ask Me Anything.
Thanks, Howard. Before you go, there's a couple more questions coming in. First one, can the default roll-off time be set less than 10 days for deleted volumes in the recycle bin?
Okay, so with the recycle bin, so if you go into the pool, let's answer this one first. You come here into the pool and the recycle bin. Now the only thing that goes in the recycle bin is going to be a volume. So if you have a volume, and here if I wanted to delete this, let's find one that's not attached. So here's one that's not attached. If I want to delete that, it will go ahead and delete that. That was an SSD, I believe. And then that would go in there in the recycle bin. The snapshots are not put in the recycle bin, except if you delete a volume with snapshots, the whole set's put into that. And the first part of the question, could you repeat that, please?
The question was, can the default roll-off time be set for less than 10 days?
Okay, good.
I'm sorry,
Really
less
good
than
question.
7 days.
I believe you can create a snapshot policy for under 7 days. Yeah, so if you want to do every, let's say once per day, and then you can create it for 7, for example. That would do a week's worth, and then that's how you do it. You just create a new policy for that. It's pretty straightforward. So if you don't want to keep a lot of snapshots that go into the pool, you just make the time frame shorter. But again, you don't really have to worry about snapshots. They really don't take up any space other than metadata. And then they just start rolling off. So as long as your pool is large enough, you can keep as many snapshots as you want. And again, snapshots are local. They're within the same pool on the same drives. It doesn't really take place of a backup. So you really should look into backup to S3 or doing like a DR from one VPSA to another. Or the last one you could do is have a second set of lower cost drives using SATA, for example, and do a mirroring local from your production data into like a backup set of drives. So that helps protect your data and a lot more than just a normal snapshot. And the snapshots are basically for quick recovery, but even with backup to S3, you can recover things in minutes.
Okay, thank you for answering, Howard. Thank you for the questions this session. That was very helpful. If you have any more questions for Howard, refer to his contact information on the slide right now. Before we close, I wanted to mention that we're always looking for new topic suggestions. If you think of a topic you'd like to cover on the next Tech Tip Tuesday, we'd love to hear your suggestion. We have a promotion going on right now that if you suggest a topic and we use it in one of our webisodes, we'll send you $25 to Starbucks. I'll send a link for you to submit in the chat box. If you haven't done so already, head over to this page and enter in a topic. You can also find this page from our website under Events. You'll see Tech Tip Tuesday, and the links to sign up and enter a suggestion are listed in the event description. That's all for this week. Don't forget to tune in to next week's webisode. Thank you all.